click on the YouTube screen.
Excellent connection.
Yep. Okay, perfect. And then when you do go live, you should be able to go
live. Go live is up here in this thing.
Oh, it looks like it is. Is that a picture right there on your?
It is a picture. There's a picture, but it's like a frozen picture. I don't think it's. It says it's live. See where I'm pointing? It says it's countdown. Something's counting down, but I'm not.
Oh yeah, so you should be, because remember the YouTube one is probably like a 5 to 10 second delay of what you're actually doing.
All right.
So is it so hit the little triangle right there next to live, like that last, to make sure it's playing.
I don't know how that just happened. Little triangle next to live.
Yeah, the little play button down to the left. So yeah, let me see. Because you know what? If I go online, let me see if I can see. You. Robb Armstrong. Jumpstart. YouTube. Let's see if you're Denise Floyd. Apple event. Nope. Okay. So let me see. Because it says that. Because on your screen right there, it says live, right? And is there a countdown clock? Or
yeah, 250, 251.
Yeah, so that means it's recording something. Let me go. Let me get out of here. YouTube. Robb Armstrong.
Yeah, I see a delay. I can see that my hands were just in that position.
Oh yeah, so it says that you're live right now.
Okay.
Yep. I can see that my hands just in that position. Oh yeah, so it says that you're live right now. Yep. So it's recording. It's recording us.
Okay.
Yep. So you're up.
Thanks, man.
No problem.
All right.
Okay.
Bye.
So it's recording us.
All right. So, I apologize for those technical difficulties. I'm about to draw live. The strip I'm going to show you guys is a daily strip as opposed to a Sunday strip. A daily strip runs from Monday to Saturday. So this strip is actually continuing a storyline. and I began a storyline. This is going to run later in. It's going to run in December, close to Christmas. So on the 20th of December, I did a strip about this character named Antonio Sharkane. He's a anti-hero in Jumpstart. He's a villain, basically, who becomes a prominent character because his son ends up being adopted by friends of Joe and Marcy's. So Marcy works in a hospital, and this hospital is on the edge of a cure for COVID-19. And the Sunday strip that precedes this strip I'm about to show you reveals that there's someone trying to steal the vaccine, basically, for COVID-19. And Antonio Sharkane is in prison. He is talking to his cellmate. His cellmate reveals his plot to steal the vaccine. Cellmate doesn't know that Antonio has his close connection to the hospital and the people who run the place and all that. So anyway, so that's what's going on. Now let's get to the strip that I'm going to show you. Antonio, on the Sunday strip, he slips a note to his, he writes a note to his son, who was adopted by the woman who owns that hospital with the vaccine. So he slips a note to his son saying, give this to your father and your mother. Don't open it. Don't read it. That's kind of where we leave off. So now, having said all that, I'll show you what's happening currently. All right, so this is a thumbnail sketch. I gotta flip this camera around. So this is a thumbnail sketch that I'm going to be inking in today. It says, here's a secret message for you guys. This is Kenny, the character who's been adopted by Delray and Dana. He's saying, I have a secret message for you guys. And she says, who's it from? He says, my other dad. He told me not to open the envelope. Kenny's walking away with a disinterested look in his eyes. And then Delray says, thank you, Kenny. And then Kenny spins around and says, the suspense is killing me. What's in it? It's very important to build suspense if you're doing a comic strip every day. And this is a great example of that. So this is only the thumbnail. And I just do a thumbnail to show basically composition, make sure the writing has good timing, and make sure the expressions of the characters are accurate and they're working to enhance the comedy, the funniness of it. Thumbnails are when you work things out. It's like blocking in a movie. You just work out where things are going to go and how people are going to respond and what they're going to do. So then once I am happy with that, and not this step I'm making it sound like it's fast or it's easy. It's it's tricky because it's got to be funny, even though it's not, completely drawn up and everything. It's got to make sense. It's got to follow an existing storyline. A lot has to happen in this thumbnail. Sometimes I start off and it's like a whole different idea, and it's just not working. In this version of it, Kenny was just wondering out loud what was in the envelope, pondering by himself in the frame, and saying what had happened. That my other dad asked me to do this thing, and I wonder what's in it. Maybe I can peek inside the envelope. It's a different idea, and it wasn't working. It's not funny. I think this is much funnier if he's in the presence of his parents with the envelope, etc. So, all right. So I'm pretty happy with this. So now I'm going to go ahead and ink this in. So I'm going to turn the thumbnail into a full-size rough. I always start with the words. Here is a secret message for you guys. The lettering always comes first. Even though this is still going to be a rough sketch, I'm going to make sure that the lettering is nice and legible, nice and readable. I'm going to put the lettering in. I'm going to put a balloon around it. When I tell kids who like to draw how to do cartoons, I always tell them not to put balloons down before lettering. Lettering first, balloon second. If you do the other way, if you put a balloon down first, I see a lot of kids who put a balloon down first for some reason, and then they try to squeeze, lettering inside of it. It always goes very, very wrong. So you don't want to do that. So once I put the balloon down, I want to go straight across and just put all the balloons down. Who's it from? Then Kenny says it's from my other dad. My other dad. Now already you can see that for the reader who's never seen Jumpstart, because I'm always writing for readers who have never seen my strip. It doesn't matter how long I've been doing it so far. There's always someone who's never heard of it. So I have to write for the benefit of the brand new reader. So I've got to tell them as much as possible in each strip. I've got to establish that this kid has another dad somewhere. So him saying it, my other dad sent it, goes a long way to explaining who he is and what he's all about. Not to open the envelope. Okay, so and then Del Rey says, "Thank you, Kenny." Whenever the adults in Jumpstart speak, I use capital letters. Whenever children speak, I use uppercase and lowercase letters. See, a lot of people do not even realize what they're looking at. The suspense is killing me. What's in it? Now, it's a little bit funny. I don't consider this to be the most funny strip I've ever done, but it's just funny enough. It's just funny enough to convey the idea that something was given to this kid, and he was told not to look at it, and he obeyed. He did not look at it, and that says a lot about this kid's character. I always try and reveal something about what motivates my characters, what how they tick, if you know what I mean. Something about their character is always important because it just says a lot about this kid, that he didn't peek and that he obeyed the orders of his other dad who's doing all this time in jail. I'm just trying to put this back on the screen in a way you can see it better. So, all right. So once I have the words down, once I have the balloons around the words, the next thing I have to do is put the framing in. I use a simple triangle, and I'm looking at my thumbnail, and staying true to the thumbnail. I'm just going to break it the same way the thumbnail broke, using the triangle. Make sure the lines are straight. Pretty self-explanatory. So you need a channel between each frame. You want that channel to be about the same size. It doesn't have to be the same size. Sometimes it's not, but that helps. So as you can see, once the words and the balloons and the framing is in, now I know where my characters will be living. It just creates that negative space. I can see where my characters are going to go. And I really like the way my characters are positioned in the rough. I like the expressions on their faces. I'm going to keep it pretty much unchanged from the thumbnail to the rough. So in this version of it, Kenny was sort of down here, and he was sort of turning in shock or whatever and saying, I'm dying of suspense. What's in that thing? And you want to be loose. You want to stay loose. It's still a rough. This is not the finished inking. This is still a rough. So you can be very, very loose. You want to draw fast, but you don't want to draw too fast. There's a kind of urgency that the line has to have without being rushed. And you want to show the movement here. You want to show that he can't take the suspense anymore, right? So I want to show his dad saying, thank you, Kenny. But unlike this, I'm going to change it a little bit. I want his parents walking away. So it doesn't help to see their faces. It would be funnier if you didn't see their faces. So I'm going to show the back of them. Always trying to enhance what's funny about the strip. What's funniest is if he's reacting this way and their backs are turned to him. So I'm just going to... I've never drawn Delray from the back before, but I've drawn him from the front so many times that I know that from the back he would look something like that. My ink is running dry. I had to make another run to the art supply store and buy some more of these. I use Papermate flares, and I'm getting kind of frustrated with the line. So it's time to do a pen run. So anyway, this is how Delray looks from the back. And this is his mom. This is Dana from the back. Kind of easy. As soon as my pens die, I just toss them. I don't stick them back. Anyway, there you go. That's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. So there they are. His parents are walking away, and he's turned around to see what's in the letter. By the way, the reason I jumped right to the final frame, I could have started here and arrived there. The reason I jumped right to the final frame is it's gotta pay off. And it's best if you know how things end. As the cartoonist creating Jumpstart, my job is to know how things end and to keep you, the reader, waiting, waiting, waiting. You know, setting something up, confusing the issue, and then springing something on you in a surprising moment. Now, sometimes that doesn't work and you're not surprised. That means I failed. If you get to the end of one of my strips and you know how it's going to end, I've blown it. So if you don't know, then I'm still ahead of you. I have to stay ahead of the reader as the creator of the strip. So now that I have the end, now I can go back and start from the beginning, and I'll just have Kenny exactly the way he was here, sort of handing. The real beauty of doing a thumbnail first is you can see compositionally where things have to be. And I like compositionally where this was. Kenny was in profile. He was handing this letter to his folks. Handing them this note. Like so. Sometimes what I'll do, if I don't like even as a rough sketch, I have to like the art. If I'm not liking the art, I just take a piece of tracing paper and fix the art. I'm not liking his face here, so he's just not cute enough. He's a cute kid, so that makes it. I just know that he's not cute. A cartoonist doesn't have to know what's perfect. He just has to know what's not working. If you know what's not working, believe me, you are way, way ahead of the game. So that looks more like Kenny. So I just cut this out with a razor blade. Even though this is not the finished inking, so to speak, I do want it to look good. So the inking, when I do the final tracing, will be fast. If I'm still correcting things in the final tracing, it just slows down. Kind of gums up the works too much. So I actually like this artwork from the thumbnail. I want to steal it. I'm not going to change it. I like the size of it, actually. I like the size of the characters here. I want to be able to get more of them. I want to steal a piece of my thumbnail. I want to stick it in to that final strip like that. It's not a bad piece of art, actually, which happens. Sometimes my thumbnail is fine. It's got to extend it a little bit. Like that. Voila. This also gives me space. The reason I stole a smaller version of them from my thumbnail is that it gives me space. You want your characters to not be crowded. And hey, my thumbnail was good, so. In this frame, Kenny is walking away. I draw him first. He's walking away disinterested. Facial expression, very important. It's very important that he seemed like, who cares? Because the whole joke is that he does care at the end. So right now we're going to make it look like, whatever. I was told to keep a secret. I did. It's adult business. I don't care. And we all know, those of us who are kids know, they love adult business. Kenny actually received this letter while he was away at boarding school. The Sunday strip, he was away at boarding school. Now I have him back with his parents. So at some point during the week, I have to account for that. I've made a shift in continuity. I've shown him away at school. Now I'm showing him at home with his folks, handing them this letter. Now one way I can handle that is verbally. I can make it clear that, or visually, I can make it clear that they're visiting him at school. I think that might be the way I handle it. That they're visiting him at school. So to do that, I'm going to have to establish they're at his school. So maybe there's other kids around. Maybe they're, I don't know. I don't know that part yet. Maybe they're at home and he's either going home to see them or they've come to see him. As you know, his boarding school is way, 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 way far from where he lives. So, the week of Christmas, and it adds to the rationale that he would be at home at this point. He would be back at home to celebrate Christmas. So, one way of doing that is by having a Christmas tree in frame, like so. It's got ornaments on it. It's got the leafy look of a Christmas tree. Now, I can even add the Christmas tree, a hint of the Christmas tree, back here. The star on top of the tree can be back here, like that. So that's been resolved. He has come home for Christmas when all this transpires. And just like that, problem solved. Here's a tree. Here's a tree again. It's funny how one little thing like a Christmas tree, we are aware, we've established location just by putting a tree into the art like that. Not even a whole tree, a piece of a tree. And I want to add a little bit of ornaments with a piece, put some white out, just add some ornaments to it. I want to get this out of here. So, I'm going to steal, I like the size of my thumbnail. I'm going to steal them again. They happen to be the right. This doesn't always happen, by the way. This is kind of interesting that in both these cases, I was able to steal from my thumbnail. All right. So, I really like that. I really like that. There goes Delray and Dana. All right. I just go in, I hit this again with a little white out. There we go. Let me see. I'm just looking for I'm gonna grab a Sharpie. I want to make these corrections with a Sharpie. Like that. Add some more Christmas decorations here. And a little bit of furnishing or architecture. It just says, you know, that we're in someone's house. So I'm going to add a lamp. Don't have to go crazy with too much of this stuff. That kind of does it. We get the idea. We get the idea that he is home for the holidays. If I just add a little bit of decorations like that. All right, just a little bit of decorations. And a little bit of white out. And this is not my finished inking, but I still want it to look good so that when I do the final version. And that's it. That's it. It is now roughed in. I've stolen so much stuff from my thumbnail that it's now basically worthless. But I wouldn't trash. It's over. That's it. That's it. That's a wrap for that. Okay. Now once I have everything here the way I want it, and I'm happy with it, and I am happy with it, I'm going to put the date on here. I believe this is 12/21. And I want to draw this bad boy. Ordinary tracing paper. I use Strathmore, and just want to lay down a piece of tracing paper on there, smooth it down, tape it down. This part of the process goes surprisingly fast. You know, working out the strip takes much longer. It began this morning in the shower, actually, and I found that to be the most productive place in my entire house. All right. Want to make sure this pen is nice and juicy. It is not. Which means it goes in the trash. I gotta find a pen that has a lot of ink in it. That one's not bad, so maybe that's on deck. It is definitely time for me to make a run to art supply store for sure. That's not gonna work either. Sorry about this, guys. And let's see how this one looks. Thank goodness that one's good. Okay. Now, when I do my lettering in the final version, I do not do my lettering on the strip. I actually do my lettering on a piece of lined paper with a grid on it, a light blue grid. This grid is such a light color of blue that my my scanner can't see the grid lines, and this keeps my lettering straight. There's just the reason you see some mess on it is that that's just a liner. I just stuck a piece of paper in it just to catch any bleed through. So I'll put that liner in there, and I'll do the lettering. Start with the date, 12/21/20. Can't believe that this year is almost over, thank goodness. All right. And I want to be kind of neat here. I want to be very neat here. This is the actual lettering that's going to be in Jumpstart. I want to be accurate with the centering. And just by looking at my rough, I can tell that I was pretty good centering it there. So I'm going to follow the same thing. And I use letters to keep myself honest. When I draw that top line, I look at the next line and see it's under the E. Next line, it's under the E again. That kind of keeps it centered. Now, when I go into Photoshop to import this lettering, I can shift it. I can massage it, make it center better, because it's not perfect right now. It's a little bit slanted to the left there. So Dana's going to be saying, who's it from? And Kenny is saying, my other dad. He told me not to open the envelope. He told me. And again, my lettering is nice and free and large. You don't want to write tiny little letters, you guys. Whenever I see kids in schools and I get into this part of it, they kind of zone out. Because kids don't want to write neat for some reason. I don't know why. They want to write tiny, teeny, weeny letters. I don't know why. Because no one can read them. You want your lettering nice and juicy and big so people can read it. You want to take your time, but you don't want to move too slowly. You don't want to move too slowly or too quickly writing lettering. It becomes a little bit sloppy if you do. So, it ends with Dana saying, thank you, Kenny. Or Delray saying, thank you, Kenny. Again, adults using all caps, kids using upper lowercase. Now, the weight of lettering is important. So when he is saying this final line, the suspense is killing me, what's in it? I don't want to use the same pen. I want to go with something bolder. I want to go with a juicy Sharpie and write bigger and bolder. It's funnier, right? The suspense is killing me. I almost wonder if the suspense is killing me is enough. Do I really need to say the suspense is killing me? What's in it? Wow. I don't know. What do you guys think? I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll write it two ways. I want to write it two ways. The suspense is killing me. I'm going to write it again the other way. You see how it looks on a piece of paper. The suspense is killing me. What's in it? I don't know. I gotta think about that. I don't know. I seriously don't know which one of these is better. But I still have time to figure it out. So once I get the lettering down, I'm gonna save this, put this to the side, and now focus on the balloons, the frames, and the characters. All right. All right. Without worrying about the lettering, it's easier to do the balloons. It's one of the reasons I do balloons and lettering on two separate pieces of paper, so I can just be freer All right. Freer meaning I'm not worrying about hitting the lettering, or am I making the balloon too small for the lettering. The lettering is not here. It's going to be imported into the strip in Photoshop, and it kind of frees me up to just do nice, interesting lines. Thick and thin, always thick and thin in Jumpstart. Was one even line, in my opinion, this is my artistic opinion, is boring. And that variation in my line makes my strip overall interesting to look at. You want to make sure that your strip is a treat to look at. You don't need to be the world's best artist, but you need to understand that the audience wants, the readers want something pretty to look at. Kind of makes sense, right? So you notice when I got to this decoration, I stopped. I left a break there. So I'm going to put the decoration in and go right to the edge of that break like that. I'm going to fill it in with garland like that. And white out on my Christmas lights. Like that. Okay, so the top of the tree has a star on it. I'm not showing a whole bunch of this tree, so it can be very loosey-goosey. Just going around the outside of my character. Very loose. Indicating there's a tree back there behind her. And again, take some white out, drop in some ornaments like that. We've all seen enough Christmas trees where we get the idea that that's a tree back there. Even though I haven't shown almost any of it, we get it. It's a phenomenon called closure. We don't need to show a whole thing. We have to indicate something is there. And closure is used in everything. It's used in film, it's used in art. It just says I can show a piece of a human being without you thinking the rest of the human being doesn't exist. So a piece of Kenny, for example, doesn't scare you. You know that the rest of them exists somewhere. It's called closure. So I want to add in his parents. I need a thinner tool to do them. They're small. It's the same pen, but it's thinner point on it. By the way, thank you all for I see Lynn has said, why am I so serious? A very good question. Lynn says, why am I so serious? My job is fun and I love it, but doing it is not easy. And I'm actually deep in thought for most of the process. Just double checking all the boxes, making sure that this thing is what I envision it to be in my mind. So if I come off serious, like too serious, it's because, well, it's a serious business here. This is serious business. So I like the size of this pen. This is one of my last ones with ink in it, so I'm going to have to buy some more. I love the size of this one for the characters. It's perfect. So this is a dad looking a little bit surprised. Raised eyebrows, small mouth. These mannerisms indicate sort of inquisitive, like what's going on here? What are you talking about? You know? All right, so Yeah, very happy with how Dana looks, how Delray looks. Now I'm going to draw Kenny. Start with his eyes. He was kind of cute in the rough, but I'm going to make him a little cuter. And you do that by making him look a little younger. Everything is reduced in size a little bit, and he looks younger. I'm also going to put him in a robe. A robe indicates that you're home. And it's easy to draw a robe because you just have a thick collar and thick cuffs and tiny terry cloth dots. And it says bathrobe. Let's put him in a bathrobe. Like so. I like that. All right. And we're going to do another balloon. When it comes to my speech balloons, sometimes when they make contact with other balloons, I want a very, very, very thin line of contact between them. It's just a thing I do in Jumpstart. I've seen it other places. I'm not claiming to have invented that, but you see how it gets thin when this balloon touches that balloon? I want to make it even thinner. It's just prettier. And again, one of the advantages of not having any lettering inside this balloon right now is I can do stuff like this. All right. So let's get the other balloon in here. I enjoy inking so much that I've never stopped doing it on paper. I've never stopped using pens with ink in them. Most of my industry has moved on to more modern technologies. Most people I know use something called a Wacom tablet to draw their strips. Most of the professionals I know. A Wacom tablet. Company's called Cintiq. It replaces all this. And, people who use it love it. I've never heard a bad thing about it. I just know I'll never do it. that's all I know. I've actually been offered a free Cintiq tablet by the company who makes them. Like, no one can believe I still draw by hand, including the people who make these tablets. They just can't get over it. I love my hand touching a pen. I love a magic marker in my hand. In fact, one of the things you may have noticed is that Jumpstart doesn't use. There's no part of my process where I use a pencil, a lead pencil. I don't like pencils. I think that they're terrible. Like I don't think I have any pencil. I see one over there in my studio. I don't use pencils for anything. I use pens for my rough sketches, my thumbnail sketches, everything. My finished inking, I use pens. I love the feeling of a pen. Pens make permanent marks. Pencils make temporary marks. At the end of the day, and I mean at the end of the day, when I'm not here anymore, my marks will be. So that's why I like pens. They're very permanent. They leave an imprint on earth that cannot be erased. Even if, God forbid, my house burned down and some of this paper didn't survive, Jumpstart lives in both the real world and the virtual world, thanks to Go Comics. So please look at Go Comics if you don't want to buy a newspaper every day. And thanks to the fact that Jumpstart is in books, like On a Roll. it has a degree of immortality, which I find quite fascinating. So, just drawing Dana. I want to be true to her character every time I draw her, and she's very obstinate, and her arms are not crossed like this accidentally. She's a stern person with a tremendous amount of responsibility to go with a tremendous amount of wealth that she inherited. And kind of crossed arms say enough about her for a strip that isn't really about her. Today's strip isn't really about her. Just crossing her arms says something about her character, and you want to always, always, always amplify the characters in your work. So I'll put the tree back here again. As the tree gets near the character, it can go completely black. It doesn't help to have too much dazzling activity behind the cartoon character. So when it gets behind the character, I just go black with it, like so. Just indicate that it's a tree like that. Just gonna go completely black. Silhouette it back there. Silhouette it. And we're going to add the ornaments using whiteout. This tree really helped get me out of a bind creatively, because if you recall, I was stuck between, where's all this happening? And the tree basically bailed me out. He originally received this letter when he was away at boarding school, and now he's in the presence of his parents, and it's December 21st, and the calendar helped me here. I said, wow, on that date, no private school would be in session. On December 21st, private schools would be, let out for Christmas, for the holidays. So let's have Delray looking at his wife while she's speaking. All right. And holding said letter. All right. Grab my trusty Sharpie and handle pants this way, simply. Nice bold. I love that bold line on a Sharpie. It's great. All right, let's have Kenny looking completely not interested. The more not interested he looks here, the funnier it's going to be when he suddenly confesses to being tortured with suspense. So let's have him looking like, whatever. Adult business. Let's have him in his robe. We'll crisscross like that, right? Amplifying the idea that he's home from school. Him being in a bathrobe like that. You have a little bit of a t-shirt on under here. Why not? All right. So, and then we're going to do another speech balloon. Thank you. All right. Definitely got to make a run to the art supply store. It's one of my final pens with this kind of smooth line left in it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. But whenever it's gorgeous like this, I know it's going to die. So I'm going to have to run and replace this today. I'm going to add the other balloon. All right, looking good. Again, I don't want too much heavy weight between balloons. I'm going to skinny up that line with white out. It's real skinny. Wow. Skinny, skinny, skinny. Look at that. All right. Finish up that. It's that alternating between weight, thickness, and thinness that makes the art jumpstart interesting to look at. Now I can do some of that in Photoshop. I can go in and white things out and all that, but I still, again, I'm emotionally connected to pens, paper. This is what happened when I was a child. I became enthralled with it, and I just don't see it ever changing. I will always love the tactile feel of real art supplies in my hands. Let's face it, it goes back to my mom saying, "Wow, I like your artwork." God rest her soul. Her encouragement just brought me a long way, you guys. So I'm not going to deal with the tree anymore. I dealt with it here. I dealt with it here. I don't think I need to deal with it there. They're walking away. We get it. There's a tree in the room. We get the decorations. There won't be anything other than the three characters in this final frame. I've established enough. And they're walking away. This can be sort of loose and fun. Like that, right? Pretty happy with how you look when I drew him from the back for the first time. Right? So Dana always has on this kind of scarf thing. I want to put some detail on her scarf like that. And her hair. If you just this kind of get the Sharpie going again. All right. Oh, excuse me. And Kenny whipping around in a frenzied state of renewed interest. I'm kind of leaning toward having him just say the suspense is killing me, and not say what's in it. Obviously, he wants to know what's in it if the suspense is killing him, right? So a little bit of sweat jumping off never hurts. All right, let's get the robe going. All right. Let's get that terry cloth on him. And you guys, that is it for the characters, and all that's left for me to do is to sign and date with my fine liner from Stadler. So I'm actually going to be whiting this out in Photoshop. I'm just fixing his hair real quick. I'm actually going to be whiting out this signature and adding a digital signature. It's just cleaner. It's in my files in Photoshop, and I just grab it and paste it on top of. It's just a cleaner signature, and the dates on the lettering page. Dates right there. So I'll be cutting out that in my signature from a digital file. But I still want to sign this piece of artwork because, like I said, it has to live on Earth in its own right. Perhaps someone will come across it one day and go, who drew this? Was it Robb Armstrong or one of his assistants by then? I don't have any assistants, you guys, by the way, other than Lin Chang, who designed my website. So it's signed, it's dated. Actually, it's not signed. It's dated. I'm going to sign it. I mean, it's signed. I got to date it here. 12, 21, 20. And speaking of Lin Chang, she's telling me that my house is going to burn down because my candle bombs. That's a very long story. I'm not proud of it, but I did cause a fire once. But, you know, who hasn't almost burned down their whole dang house? And she's saying that, do I like the smell of magic marker? I actually don't use markers with a lot of odor. Some people don't like the smell of Sharpies. I do. I mean, Sharpies have a very mild scent to them, in my opinion. When I color in artwork for friends, like sometimes I did a Sunday strip recently. I'm going to be giving to someone as a gift for Christmas. And when I do that, I color using actual markers. And these are very different than Sharpies and stuff. Like this chart pack. Old too. I had this. I bought this back in the 90s, I think. I don't use that. You know, I don't use markers that have color all that much. But when I give a gift or whatever, I use them. And you know, these have an odor, especially chart pack. The Pantone, the Prismacolor ones are kind of odorless. But man, I think this is illegal in some states. It should have a child-proof cap on it, in my opinion. Anyway, yeah. So now that it's signed and dated, you guys, I will take this upstairs to my other office, spare bedroom, scan it into Photoshop, import the lettering. I'm actually going to do two versions of it. One will have tone, grayscales. There'll be great, you know, when this is a character, this is a strip that doesn't have any black characters in it. So there won't be any grayscale on their skin, but when Joe and Marcy are in it, there's a 20% grayscale on their skin and hands and stuff. In this case, it'll just be clothing. Very, very easy to execute this strip. Some grayscale on his hoodie, for example, and then Kenny's robe. I may add some more Christmas lights in these decorations because you can get really, really cute with Photoshop and put some strings in there and maybe an ornament or two. But anyway, that's all that's going to happen. All that will happen upstairs. I want to thank everyone for hanging out with me, watching me execute a daily strip that will run the week of Christmas. Let me just make sure the whole thing is in frame here so you can see it. I hope that's better. I hope. All right. So this strip is going to run on December the 21st. Look for it. Go to gocomics.com, or better yet, go to robbarmstrong.com. Thank you, Lynn, for completing my website. We're very excited about it. You can buy my book there. You can buy a hoodie there. You can buy a mask. You can even buy a cell phone case or a t-shirt or play games. There's puzzles. There's anything you want to do. You can do it on on robbarmstrong.com or readgocomics.com. Thanks again for showing up, you guys. I gotta go. Bye.